Donnell Fulmer, State Chairman for Arkansas, to deliver the invocation.
Please bow with me. Our gracious Heavenly Father, your word tells us that blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, and we thank you that you have allowed us to live in a nation that has been so blessed by you. We are your people, and we thank you for the right to assemble, to be politically engaged, and to speak our minds. Thank you, God, for those who serve and protect us every day. We thank you for the men and women who have fought to establish this great republic, and for those who have sacrificed and fought, and those who have died to protect us and to preserve our nation and the rights that you have granted us. And we ask that you use us to ensure that we do not lose here at home what so many have fought and died to protect. We ask your healing over our nation. Through you, God, we know that all things are possible. We know that you are faithful. You never leave us nor forsake us. You guide our steps, and we thank you for everyone that you have led here today, for the plan that you have for each life here. We are so grateful that you have called us for such a time as this, and we ask, God, that you guide us and direct us, that you grant us grace and favor over our meeting today. Give us wisdom to make decisions that are pleasing to you, that produce fruit for you, and that bring honor and glory to your name. Bless those in our RNC family who are sick, who are caring for loved ones, and those who are grieving for lost loved ones. Bless us all, God, as we go out from this place and return us safely to our families. I ask these things in Christ's name and for his sake. Amen.
The chair now calls on Jason Thompson, National Committee Man for Georgia, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please salute the flag, our glorious flag, and recite the Pledge of Allegiance with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The following members have been designated to serve on the Proxy Committee: Chris Ager, National Committeeman, New Hampshire; Demetra DeMonte, National Committeewoman, Illinois; Frank Bordeaux, National Committeeman, Mississippi, actually State Chairman, Mississippi; Jim DeGraffenreid, National Committeeman, Nevada; Jim Townsend, National Committeeman, New Mexico; Kathy King, National Committeewoman, Florida; Lori Hines, National Committeewoman, North Dakota; Nicole Ambrose, National Committeewoman, Maryland; Randy Corporon, National Committeeman, Colorado; and Tamara Scott, National Committeewoman, Iowa. Kathy King will serve as chairman of the Proxy Committee. I would like to ask those appointed members to convene on the side of the room with the council's office to review the submitted proxies. Over there. While the Proxy Committee is meeting, RNC Secretary Vicki Drummond will call the roll.
Good morning. Paul Reynolds, John Wall, Mike Terrarian, Cynthia Henry, Ann Brown, Frank Barron, Amada Radawagan, Will Sword, Tyler Boyer, Lori Klein Corbin, Kelly Ward, Jonathan Barnett, Cindy McAlinden, John L. Fulmer, Sean Steele, Harmeet Dillon, Jessica Patterson, Randy Corporon, Vera Ortigan, Christy Burton Brown, John Fry, Leora Levy, Ben Proto, Frank McCann, Mary McCrossan, Jane Brady, Jose Cunningham, Ashley McLeay, Patrick Mara, Peter Freeman, Kathleen King, Joe Gruters, Jason Thompson, Ginger Howard, David Schaefer, Eddie Baza Calvo, Shelley Gibson, Juan Carlos Benitez, Jean Ward, Laura Nakalio, Signe Godfrey, Damon Watkins, Cindy Sidaway, Tom Luna, Richard Porter, Demetra DeMonte, Don Tracy, John Hammond, Ann Hathaway, Kyle Upfer, Stephen Scheffler, Tamara Scott, Jeff Kaufman, Mark Cars, Kim Borshears, Mike Kuckelman, Mike Duncan, Casey Crosby, Mac Brown, Roger Villery, Lenore Whitney, Louis Gurvich, Josh Tardy, Ellie Espling, Demi Gonzunas, David Bossy, Nicolette Ambrose, Dirk Hare, Ron Kaufman, Janet Fogarty, Jim Lyons, Rob Steele, Kathy Burden, Ron Weiser, Max Reimer, Barb Sutter, Jennifer Carnahan, Henry Barber, Jenny Lucky, Frank Bordeaux, Gordon Kinney, Carrie Allman, Nick Myers, Art Whittick, Deborah Lamb, Don Cosmith, J.L. Spray, Lydia Brosh, Dan Welch, Jim DeGraffin Reed, Michelle Fiore, Michael McDonald, Chris Ager, Juliana Bergeron, Stephen Stepanik, Bill Palatucci, Virginia Haynes, Bob Hoogan, Jim Townsend, Tina Jook, Steve Pierce, Charles Joyce, Jennifer Rich, Nick Langworthy, Ed Broyhill, Keisha Lineberger, Michael Watley, Shane Gattle, Laurie Hens, Perry Schaefer, Diego Benavente, Nadine de Leon Guerrero, James Ada, Jim Dickey, Joanne Davison, Bob Paduchik, Steve Curry, Pam Pollard, John Bennett, Solomon Yu, Tracy Honnell, Dallas Hurd, Andy Riley, Christine Toretti, Lawrence Tabus, Louise Fraterno, Zori Fanayadis, Angel Sintron, Stephen Frias, Leanne Sinek, Susie Enke, Glenn McCall, Cindy Costa, Drew McKissick, Reed Holian, Sandy Kading, Dan Lederman, Oscar Brock, Beth Campbell, Scott Golden, Robin Armstrong, Tony Andeshiel, Matt Rinaldi, Bruce Huff, Anne-Marie Lampropoulos, Carson Georgeson, Jay Shepard, Suzanne Butterfield, Dale Bilodeau, Morton Blackwell, Patty Lyman, Rich Anderson, Jeff Kent, Marlene Pfeiffer, Caleb Heimlich, Laurie Pack, Beth Block, Mark Harris, Tom Schreibel, Mary Pat Kruder, Andrew Hitt, Corey Steinmetz, Harriet Hageman, Frank Ethorn. Madam Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Vicki. I'd like to now call upon Kathy King for the report on the proxy committee.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. The proxy committee met and reviewed the 39 proxies that were submitted to the Secretary of the RNC. The proxy committee has determined that 37 submitted proxies are in order and that 2 are not in order. On behalf of the proxy committee, I conclude this report and I move that the RNC adopt the report of the proxy committee.
Without objection, the report of the proxy committee is accepted. Rule number 8A of our rules requires that a meeting agenda be sent to all members at least 10 days prior to a meeting. You've been emailed a final agenda for the general session. Without objection, we will conduct today's business according to that agenda. Hearing no objection, it is so ordered. You have been emailed a copy of the minutes from the general session of the RNC 2021 winter meeting in Amelia Island, Florida. Without objection, we will disperse with the reading of the minutes. Hearing no objection, I call upon the committee to approve the minutes from the general session of the RNC 2021 winter meeting. Again, without objection, the minutes are approved. At this time, we have new members to ratify, and I'm pleased to announce the election of Jose Cunningham to serve as the new National Committee Man for the District of Columbia, Eddie Bazo Calvo to serve as the new National Committee Man for Guam, Shelley Gibson to serve as the new National Committee Woman for Guam, Mary Pat Kruger to serve as the new National Committee Woman for Wisconsin, Tracy Honel to serve as the new National Committee Woman for Oregon, and Mindy McAlinden to serve as the new National Committee Woman for Arkansas. It is stipulated in Rule number 4 that the election of new National Committee men and women to fill vacancies in the Republican National Committee shall be ratified by the Republican National Committee upon their election by their state Republican Party. Do I hear a motion to ratify the election of these new National Committee members? A motion is made. Is there a second? It has been moved and seconded that we ratify the election of our new members. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed signify by saying no. The ayes have it. I am pleased to officially welcome you all as members of the Republican National Committee. Please stand up so we can greet you. Welcome. Welcome. We're thrilled to have you, and it is my pleasure to welcome 17 new state party chairmen to the Republican National Committee. After we read your names, if you again will stand up. Nick Myers, Missouri. Ron Weiser, Michigan. Don Tracy, Illinois. Dallas Hurd, Oregon. John Wall, Alabama. Bob Paduchik, Ohio. Mark Harris, West Virginia. Christy Burton Brown, Colorado. John Bennett, Oklahoma. Carson Jorgensen, Utah. Angel Centron, Puerto Rico. Ann Brown, Alaska. Signe Godfrey, Hawaii. Perry Schaefer, North Dakota. Ben Proto, Connecticut. Bob Hugan, New Jersey. And Matt Rinaldi, Texas. I congratulate each of you on your election and welcome to the Republican National Committee. Please stand up so we can welcome you. I am so thrilled to be with all of you in Nashville. Welcome to the 2021 RNC Summer Meeting. There are so many people I need to thank for making this week possible, and I'm going to go through it pretty quickly, but they are just wonderful people who make our committee work so well. First, our co-chairman, Tommy Hicks. Our finance chair, Todd Ricketts, who's not with us this weekend. Richard Walters, our chief of staff. I can't say enough great things about Richard and all that he does. Our Chief Operating Officer, Tina Jackson, our Deputy Chief of Staff, Mike Reed, our great legal counsel led by Justin Reamer, our RNC officers, Ron Kaufman, Vicki Drummond, and Kyle Hupfer. I also want to do a little plug for Shannon Fisher. And Shannon, where are you? Shannon has been with me for 5 years, and it was her birthday when we started this meeting. So if we could all just, on the count of 3, wish Shannon a happy birthday. 1, 2, 3, happy birthday. Shannon's great. I'm sure you all see her with me, and at this point, she's a member of my family, so thank you, Shannon. I want to thank all of our RNC staff. They work tirelessly. I hope you see it. They do such a great job, and they help us get closer and closer to victory. And, of course, we have to thank Mariana Herrera and the member services team. They work so hard, and this is a very sad day because we are losing two of our member services family members. Callie and Madeline are moving on. This is their last day with the RNC, so please join me in thanking them for their great service to our party. You all know my family's not here right now, but I couldn't do this without them, and you've met them. Nash started off here. He's now here. He's driving. It's really scary. It's really, really scary. Patrick, my husband, and Abigail, being a mom and a wife are the two most important and enjoyable jobs in my life, and I'm so grateful for their love and support. I also want to thank two members who are not here with us today and honor their memory. Margaret Metcalf and Bill Brock both led amazing lives and were extraordinary leaders in our party. They leave behind remarkable legacies, and we will miss their kind presence and their friendship. So, we're here in Tennessee, and Nashville's a pretty great city, I'm not gonna lie. It's been hot. It's been a little hot, not gonna lie, but I wanna thank our host, Chairman Scott Golden, National Committee Woman Beth Campbell, and National Committee Man Oscar Brock. Can you three stand? You're over there. Thank you guys for hosting us. And your great governor and your senators and everybody came out. Also, Attorney General Cameron, thank you for everything that's made this meeting so special. And finally, and I mean this, thanks to all of you. Thank you for stepping up to serve our party and our country, the country we love. When winter meeting came around, we were all a little depressed. I was hobbling a little. We were worried. We were dreading what could happen to our country, and you guys have made such a difference with your optimism, so thank you so much. This is now my 5th summer meeting as RNC chair. I've aged a lot. Actually, no, I haven't aged at all. I'm so proud to be chairman of a party that is growing and leading and uniting to win. And the RNC, we are doing our part to make that happen. And you, each of you in your state parties, you are doing your part to make that happen. We have a video that we're supposed to play right here.
How will Republicans bring the nation back together?
We have to start investing long-term in communities that have habitually been Democrat.
What the RNC is doing is making sure that the root system that's necessary for real success is there, not for election cycles, but permanently.
Rebuilding the party and ensuring that we're in a strong position to win, and you've done that at the national level.
Our partnership with the RNC was so important to the success and what we're doing.
Republican National Committee announced today the party has deployed teams into 4 states.
We're going to continue to fight to make sure that every legal vote is counted, but that we're preventing cheating. Republicans have led better through this pandemic. That is a stark contrast that I think Americans are recognizing as we head into the 2022 midterm. We are a party of diversity. We are a party for every American, and we have a lot of hard work to do, and I am not going to let socialism rule in this country. And I'm going to work with every single one of you to make sure we squash it, we take back the House, and we take back the Senate in 2022. Since January, we have already started making tremendous progress. And one of the things that starts with, and I know we talk about it a lot, is raising resources that we need to win. So as of January, the RNC has raised $85 million. We also have more than $81 million cash on hand without any debt. 0 debt. We've spent millions, tens of millions of dollars to defend election integrity, hold Democrats accountable, grow our data and ground game, register voters, and open minority engagement community centers earlier than ever. Key to our success is reaching new voters. We continue to bring our party's empowering message to every single community, and every day, more and more Americans are finding their home in our party. We have welcomed more than 25 million new Republican voters since 2016. 25 million new. This is due in large part to our outreach and engagement. And we are opening community centers in cities across the country dedicated to engaging Black, Hispanic, and Asian Americans. Last week, we cut the ribbon on our first Black community center in Cleveland. In June, we opened our first APA community center in Congresswoman Michelle Steele's district. And at that event, I met this great young man named Brandon Nguyen. He is a superstar volunteer. He helped Michelle Steele win her race. He made over 100,000 phone calls, knocked 1,000 doors, leaving personal notes for every person that he knocked their door. He's only 16 years old, and he is the first recipient of the Chairman's Champion Award, which we have created to recognize and celebrate our great grassroots volunteers. Let's give it up for Brandon. We're also engaging the Hispanic community with our office openings in Laredo and McAllen, Texas next week, with many, many more on the way. And doing this kind of engagement this early demonstrates that we are committed to investing and building in diverse communities for the long term. Democrats have continuously taken these communities for granted, and this is about a lot more than politics and votes. We want to be present in these communities every single day so we can listen and learn and have conversations with them about how we can better represent their communities as a Republican Party. This type of engagement is paying off. Look at Texas. In June, a Republican, and I'm going to say this again, a Republican flipped the mayorship in McAllen. This is a city that is 85% Hispanic and voted for Hillary Clinton by 40 points. We are competing for every vote, and we are winning. We have 3 big races coming up this fall that we are looking forward to. We want to recall Gavin Newsom. Hello, California. And we want to elect Glenn Youngkin as the governor of Virginia and Jack Ciattarelli as the governor in New Jersey. And everyone in those states is working so hard, and the RNC is doing everything we can to support them. But we cannot talk about winning at the ballot box if we don't talk about something we're all hearing as members. How do we restore confidence in free and fair elections? Every one of us knows we can never let what we saw happen again, what we saw in 2020, ever again. Democrats waged war on election transparency, security, and integrity, undermining our elections, and we at the RNC are using every tool at our disposal to protect the vote. We formed an election integrity committee. We're in 19 lawsuits protecting common sense election integrity laws across the country, and here's just a few of them. Georgia now requires voter ID for absentee ballots. Iowa is standardizing their election practices and ending ballot harvesting. Florida is strengthening their drop box security and increasing election day transparency. And let's not forget the huge win we had at the United States Supreme Court to ban ballot harvesting. Remember this, as the Democrats lie and the media lies about these laws. Republicans are making it easier to vote and harder to cheat, and that is what the American people expect from our elections. We are leading in this fight, we are winning, and our elections will be secure. As I said in January, we were depressed. Joe Biden, we couldn't imagine how he would stumble and bumble through the White House, but we could not have imagined how much damage and division he could cause in just a short period of time. COVID, muddled messaging, skyrocketing inflation and rising prices across the whole country, high unemployment, killing the Keystone Pipeline, labor shortages and help wanted signs on every main street in America. President Trump got workers higher wages. Joe Biden is getting them pink slips. On the world stage, even more failure. Let's not forget about what's happening in Afghanistan right now, but also abandoning Israel, kowtowing to China and Russia, turning his back on the Cuban people as they seek freedom. On top of that, Let's look at the disaster at our southern border. Just last month, 210,000 illegal immigrants were caught at our border. 19,000 unaccompanied minors just last month, the highest ever. Not unaccompanied minors, children. Children who are put in harm's way. This is not humane. This is awful what they're doing. An 800% increase in fentanyl, which is killing people across this country as we now have a drug crisis. The numbers are historic and horrifying. Border agents are exhausted. Facilities are being overrun, and our entire immigration system is overwhelmed. This is a failing policy, and Joe Biden is to blame. And one more obvious question. Isn't Kamala supposed to be in charge of this? I thought she was in charge of this. Did you all hear that? Did you hear that she was in charge of this? Where is she? They are MIA on a problem that is facing our country, and it gets even worse. Violent crime is surging because Democrats are defunding the police. Shootings and homicides are up. Cops are retiring in record numbers. Democrat-run cities like Chicago, D.C., New York, Oakland, and Seattle are failing. And Joe Biden still refuses to condemn the dangerous defund the police movement. As Democrats defund, demean, and disparage police, let us acknowledge the men and women in law enforcement for the heroes they are. We stand with them and appreciate their sacrifices. Republicans back the blue. And nowhere is Democrats' extremism more evident than when it comes to our most fundamental right of all, the right to life. Not long ago, Democrats believed abortion should be safe, legal, and rare. Now they support taxpayer-funded abortion on demand up to and after the point of birth. Whether it is on abortion, packing the Supreme Court, open borders, defunding the police, a federal takeover of our elections, or ending the filibuster, Joe Biden is in lockstep with the radical left. This only motivates me more because I am confident as ever in our country's future. Confident because of the leaders in our party and the work they're doing to improve the lives of every American, and I get to see it. Republican leaders are showing Americans what strong conservative leadership looks like, and there's no clearer contrast than the way Republican governors have led through this pandemic versus how Democrat governors have failed through this pandemic. And trust me, I know. I'm from the People's Republic of Michigan. Whitmer, Cuomo, and Newsom took away freedoms to increase their power. They destroyed small businesses with disastrous lockdowns. They kept children out of the classroom and imposed unscientific mandates only to be caught breaking their own rules time and time again. Meanwhile, governors like Abbott, DeSantis, and Noem are leading. They followed the science. They kept small businesses open. They kept our kids in school. They kept our churches open, and they protected our liberties and preserved our freedoms. And the results do not lie. 17 of the top 20 states for jobs recovered have Republican governors. 15 of the top 20 states with the lowest unemployment are Republican-run. 21 Republican-led states have recovered at least 2/3 of the jobs lost from the pandemic. Recently, I've had the most amazing opportunity to have conversations with some of these leaders as I have launched this podcast, Real America, which, by the way, debuted as #1 on government podcasts in America. Real America, it highlights Republican leaders and shows how Republican policies are working and leading America's comeback through conservative values and common sense solutions. Let's take a look. America is an amazing country filled with wonderful people who do incredible things. But too often, the media and liberal politicians ignore big parts of our nation and the people who make it work. So I'm speaking with leaders and policymakers who deal with real problems every day.
There's a reason that our country was founded the way that it was. It was founded for freedom. and it was to get out from under the heavy hand of government.
We are dealing with the largest border crisis that we've seen this century. Texas is going to secure the border, and we're going to make Biden pay for it. This is a really good insight, a really good look into the Chinese Communist Party and the evil that is at the heart of who those leaders are. They are able to get away with an awful lot in terms of corruption and lying.
For someone who continues to demonize Republicans for being racist and insensitive to minority issues, I always ask the question, who was the president that made HBCU funding permanent?
Donald Trump.
We're the party that actually produces measurable progress in reasonable time.
This should not be a heavy lift. This should not be controversial, that you want to make sure that the most sacrosanct principle in our United States Constitution, one person, one vote, is upheld.
This is what Republicans stand for. I'm Ronna McDaniel, and this is Real America. We are the party that cares about achieving measurable, meaningful results for all Americans. We stand for freedom. We stand for our Constitution, and we stand for our American flag. This is what our party's about. And I want to share a great example of our party's optimistic, uplifting message that we saw with Tim Scott and what he did after the State of the Union in his response to Joe Biden. We aired this recently in a national ad campaign.
A president who promised to bring us together should not be pushing agendas that tear us apart. Our best future will not come from Washington schemes or socialist dreams. It will come from you, the American people. We are not adversaries. We are family. I am confident that our finest hour is yet to come.
The Republican National Committee is responsible for the content of this advertising.
And you know why that's the case? Because we're the party that stands for freedom. We stand for our Constitution, and we stand for the United States flag every single time. We stand united in our belief that America is the greatest nation on earth and the greatest force for good that the world has ever known. And it was Ronald Reagan who said, the greatest leaders are not necessarily the ones who do the greatest things. They are the ones who get people to do the greatest things. That's you. That's each and every one of you. That's us. And that's what our charge is heading into this election as RNC members and leaders. We need to be out there mobilizing and inspiring others to get involved in the greatest fight our nation has ever faced. A fight that will determine whether we can keep the America we know and love. America's future is always worth fighting for. Freedom is always worth fighting for. I am so proud to be in this fight alongside every single one of you, and I am so optimistic about the next election because I see it. I see the energy and passion of people across our country every day. And I also see something else. Democrats and their radical policies have awakened a sleeping giant, the moms of America. Moms are mobilizing against what Democrats are doing to our kids. We will not let you teach our children that they were born racist or oppressed based on the color of their skin. We will fight for school choice and the best education for our kids. Democrats are the party of limiting opportunity, and we are the party of limitless opportunity. And we know the best path to the American dream comes from a good education and the right to choose the best school for your child. We will not allow Democrats to close our classrooms again or mask up our children again. We will not allow unions to teach our children anything other than that the United States is the greatest nation on earth. And finally, the Democrats cannot take away my right to call myself a mom. I am not a birthing person, I am a mother, and it's the most important job I will ever have. So Joe Biden, Kamala, Nancy, Chuck, Big tech censors, liberal media, the Democrats, socialists, defund the police, open border party. We have a message for you. The American people love freedom, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of opportunity. We love this country, and despite everything you do, freedom matters and freedom will win. We will take back the House and the Senate in 2022, and we will take back the White House in 2024. God bless you. God bless the United States of America. Thank you.